girls, and welcome to Girls in Aviation Day. I'm Joey Collarin with Redbird Flight Simulations, and I sell flight simulators. I'm also a private pilot with my seaplane rating. There are lots of careers in aviation, and today you're going to meet some of my friends.
I'm Olga Custodio. I was the first Latina commercial and military pilot. I flew for American Airlines and retired as a captain, and retired from the Air Force as a lieutenant colonel.
Like me, Silver, certified flight instructor and instrument instructor at Luke Weathers Flight Academy with the Organization of Black Aerospace Professionals.
And me, I'm Britt Tuff. I'm a flight instructor and a test pilot, and I also love to fly drones.
Let's go fly. Learning to fly is one of the most challenging and rewarding things you will ever do. At its core, flying involves learning how to make control inputs to position the aircraft precisely where you want it to be. Hey Olga, what are your thoughts on learning to fly?
Hi, I'm Olga Custodio, and I want to tell you that flying is a lot of fun. It's challenging, but it can be so rewarding.
This is a learned skill, much like learning to throw a softball, kicking a soccer ball, or learning to play the guitar. Today, you will be flying a Cessna 172 with a steam gauge panel. To learn more about the components in the cockpit, let's learn from Silver.
So this is our yoke. With our yoke, we can pitch the plane up, down, or we can bank the plane to the left or right. So for instance, if we want to turn to the left, we'd simply deflect the yoke to the left, and that would bank our wing to the left and we'd be turning to the left. If we want to turn to the right, we deflect it to the right and then we'd be turning to the right. If we want to pitch the plane up and go higher, then we pull back on the yoke and we'd be pitched up. And if we wanted it to go down, then we just push forward on the yoke and then we'd be going down. So this is our throttle. Think of the throttle as the same as the gas pedal in a car. So if we want to go faster, we would push the throttle forward like this. If we want to go slower, then we pull the throttle out like this.
Every flight starts the same way, with a takeoff. Today, we will learn a normal takeoff, meaning the airplane is departing directly into the wind. For any takeoff, your goal is to transition from the ground to a specific pitch attitude that will allow the airplane to do what it is designed to do, climb away from the ground, pointed in the correct direction. There's a lot of planning that goes into a flight and takeoff, but for today's lesson, we are going to just show you how to take off. Your Cessna is about to taxi onto the active runway for takeoff. Scan the sky for other airplanes that might be landing, taking off, or just flying in the vicinity. Get your clearance from the control tower or otherwise announce your intention to take off at non-towered airports. When you are ready to enter the runway, and it is safe to do so, release the brakes. Add a little power, and use the rudder pedals to line up with the runway center line. Be sure you are no longer resting your feet on the brakes so that you will only be pushing on the rudder pedals during the takeoff. When you're ready for takeoff, smoothly push the throttle control all the way forward for full power. Keep your focus on the far end of the runway and use small rudder pedal inputs to stay on the center line. Expect to add some pressure on the right rudder pedal to counteract the airplane's tendency to turn left during takeoff and climb. You will need to hold that right rudder pressure throughout the takeoff and climb. Hey Britt, tell us about rudder pedals.
The rudder pedals on an airplane actually do different things whether you're on the ground or up in the air. On the ground, an airplane actually doesn't have a steering wheel, so we use the rudder pedals to turn right and left and essentially drive on the ground. When an airplane's up in the air flying, the rudder pedals move the rudder. The rudder on the airplane helps the airplane stay straight and keep the nose lined up. It's really helpful when an airplane's trying to turn to stay coordinated so that you don't make your passengers sick.
During your acceleration down the runway, your eyes should primarily be looking out the windscreen ahead of you. Scan, and only scan, the airspeed indicator as you accelerate down the runway. At rotation speed, which is 55 knots in this Skyhawk, rotate the nose up by gently pulling back on the yoke and lifting the nose to the horizon. The airspeed is relatively low, so it will take a moment for the nose to rise. The airplane will continue to accelerate and will lift off when it's ready. Allow the airplane to accelerate to VY and hold that pitch attitude for best rate of climb. Glance at the airspeed indicator and adjust the pitch attitude as needed to maintain your climbing airspeed. Since you can't see the runway as it passes behind the airplane, use a cloud or some external reference to keep tracking the extended runway center line. If you do everything correctly, you'll end up gracefully climbing away from the ground at the proper airspeed on the proper heading. Climb out straight ahead or to 300 feet below traffic pattern altitude if staying in the pattern. Thanks for joining us today. It's been awesome. Check out our virtual STEM classes. They're free, you don't need a simulator, and you'll have a lot of fun learning at learning.redbirdflight.com. Also, if you're interested in trying to find a Redbird Flight Simulator near you, contact me. I'll set you up in one.